Hi and welcome back to the channel. This is the third in the series of videos on my 1961 Rover P4 80, and today I'm going to be going through a few of the jobs I plan to do over the next 3 to 4, 5 weeks maybe, and it'll be the first real jobs I've carried out on the Rover since I bought it last May, and there are various reasons for that. We've been busy on the house and all other sort of things, so finally at last I've got some time to spend on it. So I was planning to do the first of the videos this year on the history I've got with the car, but it's quite detailed and there's been a lot of money spent on it by the previous owner, so I'll leave that for the next video because it's quite detailed. So what I plan to do today is go through the jobs I plan to do over the next few weeks. There's 4 or 5, some may take longer than others, but I'll grab the camera and we'll have a walk around and see what I plan to do. Right, one of the first jobs I'm going to be carrying out is to refurbish the clock. Now, a month or so ago I did have a go at trying to remove it. Now the fascia was a little bit loose and it sort of came off in my hands, but I never read the instructions, so bad one on me. After I did, I tried to remove the grub screw from underneath, and I'll cut in a little portion of video now. And what's happened is I used a screwdriver to try and remove it, and the thread, it's not the thread, the slot for the screwdriver sort of wasn't there anymore after a couple of turns, or tried to turn it rather, and then I tried to get underneath to try and drill it out a little bit, and it didn't work. So what that means is that the dash has got to come out, and I know how to do that, but obviously one of the worries is actually damaging the foam. Now it feels alright, to be honest, and it may have been replaced before, but I've seen a couple of videos where the foam just disintegrates and you're left with a load of biscuit crumbs. But it's got to be done, so that's one of the jobs I'll be carrying out on the next few weeks. So what am I going to do about the clock? Well, it wasn't working anyway, which most of them aren't. And if you read about how many activations the electronic contacts make, it's about 3 million times per week. So let's add that up. 3 million over 365 days times 61 years. Oh, that's about, it's a lot. It's rather a lot. So the contacts go, and so there's a company that will sell you a refurbishment kit or a repair kit, and it's all solid state. So I'm going to have a go at doing that. And the kit costs what, £67 plus delivery, so I think I will be giving that a go. Okay, the next job I'm going to be doing is associated with the lights. The interior lights at the rear, the 2 sides, they weren't working very well. Well, they weren't working when I first bought the car, and I investigated and the bulbs were okay, and where they sat it was a little bit corroded both sides, so I cleaned them up, and this side didn't really work, which is the off side. So I had a look at the switches in the door pillar, and the contacts were absolutely rubbish, so I cleaned them up, and lo and behold, whoops, and lo and behold, click the switch and on they come. Now also the switches when you open the door to turn the lights on, if I open this door now, this one comes on, so that's fine. Although if we have a look at the switch, which I'll do in a minute after we've looked at the other side, turn around. Oops, there we go. And if we open this side, then the switch doesn't activate. Now I know, it's come on. There we go. So that wasn't working before when I tried it, so it's a bad contact, I guess. There we go, open again, doesn't come on. So that's what I need to look at on the near side. Now if we have a look at the switch, we know it's working, so if we have a look at it a little bit closer, if it'll keep focusing, it doesn't look very good, and if you try and push it in, it's bent. And I've tried to straighten this out a bit, and it does work, but these are about 25 quid to buy, I've found out. So this one I will be straightening out myself, but on the front passenger side it's a different story. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so in the front of the car, I know that the switch on the offside front works, because although the light, the map light I think they call it, which is there, hasn't got a bulb in it, I managed to jerry it and fit a bulb in, and when I open the driver's door it does come on. Now the near side is a different matter, and that certainly doesn't work. As you can see, it's a bloody mess, and as I say, I'm going to be getting another one of these, but as you can see there, it's not secure, and I'm going to have to do something about that. So that will be one of my jobs, and either I can try and get away with reusing this and putting some metal in there and making it fix properly, or buy a new switch, but we'll get to that, and I'll investigate it a bit further over the coming weeks. So that is the job to do on the lights, the interior lights rather. Now talking about bulbs, I do need to get a few for the interior, some spares, and the boot light doesn't work, so that needs to be done. Anyway, on to the next job. Right, so let's have a look at the boot and the rear of the car. When I first bought the car, I was informed that the boot lid had been replaced by a steel unit, and to be honest it does feel quite heavy, but after I went around testing it, here's a magnet, it's certainly not. So it is an aluminium part. Now when you open it, it doesn't want to stay open, as you can see. So I'm going to have to address that issue. So I'll be messing about with that as well in the near future. Okay, with the use of a walking stick, the boot is now open and it's not going to crash down on my head. Right, so when it comes to the rear boot light, it doesn't work, or it didn't work. And I'm not sure whether that was down to a bad bulb or the fact that it was corroded in and it was a bad contact, but nevertheless it broke when I tried to remove the bulb. Now I'll get a new one, remove the holder, clean it out, replace it with a new bulb, and then test it again. And if it doesn't work, obviously it might be the switch that activates it in the boot. So that's another little job. Then the boot needs tidying up, and checking around underneath the rubber mat and making sure the holders for all the tools, the starting handle, the pump, the jack, are properly secured in the boot. Okay, the other thing I'm going to be doing as well is giving it a full service. I know the previous owner was quite fastidious in keeping it serviced regularly, and I'll continue that. So that is what I'm going to be doing in a few weeks' time. I'll check the coolant, and to be honest, I don't think you can probably see in there, but it certainly doesn't look as though it's got any antifreeze into me, so that needs doing quick sharp. So all the regular service, oil change, coolant change, check the brake fluid, gearbox oil, brakes, you name it, it'll be checked over, and I'll be covering all of that in an upcoming video. Now, one of the other things I'll need to look at, or want to look at, is refurbishing some of the parts. Now, the top of the radiator here is, as you can see, it's in its brass and copper. Now, I've seen some that are painted and some that are polished. Now, I don't know what is standard, or as it came out of the factory, I just don't know. But I'll do a little bit more research, and I want to keep it as standard as I can. Also, the air filter box, that is just been painted over flaked paint and rust. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be cleaning it all, and I don't know, a powder coating wasn't original, so I'll paint it black if that was the original colour, and probably use Hammerite, the smooth, because I found that when I've done jobs on the Lotus engine parts, I've used that to good effect, and it looks pretty good. So also there, that pipe that's painted, that will be being done as well. So just a general tidy up so it looks a little bit better in the engine bay, and carrying on from that, there'll be lots of other things that are going to be sorted out in the engine bay as well. As you can see, some of the wires, some of the wires are being frayed, and I can see that underneath the dash there are new wires, but that's quite a big job. But that's for further in the future, so I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. One of the other things I need to address is the door. All the other doors shut fine, but this one, it doesn't shut properly, and you have to give it a really good slam. And as I said, all the others shut absolutely fine, so that will need looking at as well. It wasn't a job that I got on my list, but it's bugging me, so it needs to be sorted. So that's about it for this video. As you probably know, we've had some pretty cold weather recently, and although I haven't really used the Rover for one reason and another, I've had it backwards and forwards, messing about and doing little things. And one thing I've noticed is the heater is bloody good. It demists well, and it kicks out a lot of heat, to the point where, I was getting really hot in here, sitting messing about. So, can't complain about that particular part of the car. And in general, I'm really pleased with it. As I say, there's bulbs to be replaced, and lots of little jobs, which I think is one of the reasons I bought the car, to be honest, is to use it and do jobs on it, improve it. It's not going to be a concours car by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to get it to the point where it's a very good car and a very good example of one. And at some point in the distant future, I dare say it will be getting a respray at some point, but I'll go into that in a future video. So starting from next week, I'll be doing hopefully a video a week on tackling some of these jobs, and sort of a weekly update, if you like, and I hope you'll follow me on that journey. You'll like and subscribe, and please comment in the comment section below and join me on the journey. It's going to be fun, and I'm certainly going to enjoy it anyway. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.